Now that we have IssueTrack installed, we're now ready to set up our project file. This file will store all our issue and project information. To launch IssueTrack, go to the tab labeled Tool Add-ins 1. This name may change in the future as I update the plugin, but for now it's on this tab, and hit the IssueTrack button. This brings you to a screen that lets you choose to create a new project file or load an existing file. We'll use the load button later when we open this file for the second time. But for now, we're going to create a new project file. This is going to ask you to find a location on your hard drive to save this file. I'd recommend just saving it right with your coordination file. For this particular example, I'm using an old NWD from my Augusta ED project in Augusta, Georgia. So I'm going to navigate to that project file and save it right alongside my NWF. You can name this file whatever you like, you just need to find it each time you load Navisworks later on. Once you hit save, the project setup dialog is going to show. This gives you a place to enter a lot of project information that's going to get us started. For the project name, type in the name of the project. This will appear on all reports. Next, type the owner of the project. Now we're going to add our subcontractors. This is an optional feature. You can just assign issues by trade, but this is often helpful to have, especially when you've got lots of different people working on a project. To add a new subcontractor, click the Add New button. This will pop up a screen that lets you add a new company. Type in the company name. Next, you can assign a trade to this company. The way trades work, there's a fixed number of them, and they're hard-coded into the program. Each company can be assigned to multiple trades. However, any one trade can only be assigned to one company. In this case, this sub is my electrician, so I'm going to assign him to the electrical trade. Now, if I scroll down here to the bottom of the list, you'll notice that I have certain trades broken out further. These are intended to be used if you have a more complex contract arrangement in which you've got subs covering partial trades. But otherwise, just use these standard trades that are at the top of the list. These fields here are optional. They don't appear anywhere on reports. These are just for your reference. And now that sub is added to our list. I'm going to continue creating the rest of the subs for this project. Now all my subcontractors have been added. It's worth mentioning that if you need to change any of these properties of the subcontractors, you can just select the company and hit Edit Company, and it will pop up all the information for them. To remove a company, hit the Remove Company button. Next, we're going to set up our coordination zones. A coordination zone is basically any way you want to divide up your project, whether it be through levels or areas or however else you're dividing it up. This particular project only uses one area, but for the sake of the example, I'm going to go ahead and add a few different areas. When I press the Add New button, a pop-up box comes up to create a new zone. I type in the zone name. Now down here you'll see several entries for dates. I haven't added this feature into the program yet, but eventually one day I want to have this thing analyze schedule impact and other things related to the schedule of coordination. You can enter in dates here, but for now they're not going to do anything except be used as reference. Now, just like with the companies, you can edit these zones anytime you need to. However, if they are linked to any issues, it will not let you remove them. To remove a zone, click the Remove Zone button. You will notice that in the coordination zones list you have a default zone. This is always in there and cannot be edited or removed. It is used by default if you do not have any other zone set. Down here, type in a name for saving changes. This will appear on the logs that I'll show in a later video for each issue. If anyone else besides yourself works on your project, it's a good idea for them to go in and change their name. That way, if they do anything with the issues, you'll be able to see it later. If you need to add any project notes, you can add them in this box, just for reference. I'm going to talk about the general settings down here for a second. The first one is grayed out. That's a feature I haven't added yet, but I eventually will add to update any link clashes and issues automatically with the issue status. The next checkbox says Save Project File on Document Save. I advise you to keep this box checked. What this does, it will automatically export and save your IssueTrack project file every time your Navisworks file is saved. This keeps the two files in sync with each other. That way you don't load in an old project file or one that wasn't saved with the previous project. Down here you'll see a checkbox saying Enforce Unique Viewpoint Names. This is something I also advise you to leave on. I won't get into the technical details, but essentially the way this program is set up, you have to have unique names for each of your viewpoints. You cannot have two viewpoints named the same thing. There is one exception to this, and I'll get into it in a later video, but for the most part you need to keep your viewpoint names unique and different from each other. By having this checkbox checked, it'll keep everything unique, and anytime you try to add in a duplicate viewpoint with the same title, it'll tell you that you need to change it. When everything is set up the way you want to, click OK. And now you're ready to go. In the next video, we'll talk about each of these tabs up here at the top and what they do. Now your project file is set up and you're ready to go. In the next few videos, we'll be talking about each of these tabs up here at the top of the screen and what they do.